Will Bitcoin violently fall below 25,000 in the next few hours? If you are interested in this question, please follow me. From the weekly perspective, we can find that although Bitcoin is currently falling, it is as if there is not a very large amount of short volume energy. I personally think that in fact, during the process of our short position, it does not necessarily have to have a huge amount of volume energy. In fact, during the process of our short position's decline, if it does not have volume energy, it can still fall on us. We can review the past few rounds of decline and this is the case, or let's draw conclusions directly. We cannot deny this short trend just because there is no explosive short volume on the weekly line. But if we have huge short volume, we can. If so, I will be able to identify this short trend better. In fact, during the rise, we usually look at the OBV. The OBV adds up the volume. When it rises, the volume of the longs can be added up and subtracted from the fall. So if we are in the midst of a healthy rise, our OBV will rise as the price of Bitcoin rises. You can see that our OBV will also rise as the price rises during this period. The rise was already relatively unhealthy until the end of our rise. Our OBV never hit a new high or a very clear high point. Then, during our previous rise, our price rose and our OBV also failed to hit a new high. As it rose, there was no divergence. And you can see that in the previous craziest round of rise, our OBV also hit new highs all the way. And then, we were in the previous Mavericks. It is also following the same trend. The price of Bitcoin is rising, and the OBV is also rising. If it is earlier, then this is. Oh, you can find that it is also following the same trend. The price is rising, and the OBV is rising, so we are in a good long period. When the price rises, the OBV must follow the rise. This has been the case in the past several rounds of big rises without any exception. At least this is what we see from the weekly perspective. But during the decline, for example, we at that time, don't underestimate this period of decline. This period also fell a lot. If we go from the highest point to the lowest point, the market will also be cut in half. But you can find that we are in the process of cutting in half. We are short. It doesn't have very, very obvious, very prominent volume. Fortunately, it is slow. So in fact, with this kind of slow volume, we can also go down. In other words, without this very prominent short volume, it can't. As a reason to deny this wave of decline, you can also see that our wave of decline should not underestimate this wave. From the highest point to the lowest point, it is also a cut in half. The market price is a little more than cut in half. You can also find it. He didn't have any big short positions. The volume was okay. It was really okay. If the shorts exploded here, it would be easy for us to judge. But you can see that before the violent volume appeared here, the decline in our period was also the same. It is very obvious that from the highest point to the lowest point, the market price is cut in half. You can find that our energy is also moving relatively slowly. It releases slowly and is relatively gentle. In this way, it does not break violently like the one below. In fact, if we break violently, it is better to confirm the trend of this wave of decline. But we cannot deny this wave of decline just because there is no volume in the past. In fact, we are also currently in the same situation. If we have a violent break, then we have a violent break and then we have this big one. Based on the short numbers, we can very well identify this wave of short trends. But we absolutely cannot deny the possibility that our decline will become a trend. Just because such a violent negative line has not yet appeared. Well, then we can start from the daily line. Looking at the daily line, we can find that in fact, a few points we need to pay attention to currently are that we can open VPVR. And we can find that the current rise we are on is the rise since 15500. It is indeed at the stage of adjustment. We are above 25,000. In the chip area he walks in, there is no very, very exaggerated chip vacuum. However, we do have it below. We are at 25,000 all the way to 23,000. The place is completely in a vacuum. So if our price breaks through 25,000, I believe it will directly break down to the 23,000 position in a very, very short period of time. This is very likely to happen, especially at our current level. We continue to test the support of 25,000. And the more we test, the lower it gets. We will cut it down to smaller levels later and look at it again. If we cannot even support the support of 23,000, then we will test our support of around 21,000 to 20,000. The place where the chips are denser is when the chips change hands. There is also a large vacuum area in the middle between 20,000 and 21,000. I believe that if we pass this section, we will go very, very quickly. Then you can pay a little attention to these two positions. This is at least the position that is very likely to be touched after our current 25,000 is broken. If we can't even hold 20,000, we will have to see the previous low. The support is the range around 16,000 to 15,000. If we can reach this range, I believe that our previous low is likely to be unsafe, because the distance between us is relatively large. And if we are above, can we come to the area of 15,000 to 16,000 again? The time it moves above us will be much longer than below. Then we will be very, very, very dangerous. We will hit a lower position than the previous low before the low. Then this is very scary. In fact, judging from the current market situation, I think it is very, very dangerous. Other entities are currently in a relatively small cycle. For example, we can look at 4 hours. We can open it from 4 hours and look at us. It can be found that he has tested us before plummeting. We have reached this previous low many, many times, and the back and forth is very intensive. You can see that when we first came to touch, the 25,200 pin was inserted once. And then the second time, the third time, the fourth time, the fifth time. I have tested the exact same position 5 times, and it is clear that as we go later, the more intensively we test, it becomes more and more frequent. When we first tested, he inserted a very long needle and there was a big rebound. After bouncing all the way from the current position of 25,200 to 26,500, it rebounded in varying sizes. However, in our last 3 times, the more it tested, the lower the height of its rebound. And the closing price of the entity was also lower. You can find that before we all physical closings are at this position. But then we closed lower and lower, closed lower and lower, and closed lower and lower until we are now. If we close at this place, we will hit the lowest closing price since our decline. And you can see that we had a small rebound before. But now, wow, there is no rebound at all. I think why there hasn't been a plunge yet. In fact, we have to look at the last fig leaf for the bulls. I think the bull's finally a fig leaf. He is about $24,750. If this place is broken, then I believe that our plummeting will definitely happen. If it happens, it will definitely happen. In fact, our previous low position is the low we made in the previous period. So this place can also help us mark the minimum trend of our break, which is $24,750. If this place breaks down, I believe we will usher in a big plunge. Well, let's take a look at Ethereum. In fact, Ethereum is currently very, very weak. You can even look at it from the weekly chart. This trend line has been broken, and it is about to be broken. Of course, it is not very clear from the weekly perspective. But if we cut this level down to 4 hours, for example, you can find out that actually we have already broken this trend line. Of course, I believe that after all, Ethereum will follow Bitcoin in the end. So what about Bitcoin? So will Ethereum explode? In fact, it will still follow Bitcoin. Will Bitcoin fall below 20,000? The price is $4,750. If so, I believe that Ethereum's decline will be deeper than that of Bitcoin. Because you can clearly see that Ethereum actually tested the rebound. It is very weak, even weaker than Bitcoin. So if we are talking about short selling, I believe that Ethereum will be a better target than Bitcoin. If you want to participate in these trading opportunities, you are very welcome to click below the video. The Bybit link now will give you $30 immediately as long as you make a KYC deposit of $100. Sorry. It's not immediate. You will be given $30 in cash. You can withdraw the coins directly. 30 USDT in cash can be withdrawn. It will be distributed at the end of September. If you want to receive free Bitcoin positions immediately, you only need to make a KYC deposit of $100. And you will receive a free Bitcoin contract position worth $1,000. If you win, you can withdraw the coins. It doesn't matter if you lose money because this is a free position. Thank you very much. Cryptocurrency prices are time sensitive. If you don't want to miss the next trading opportunity, please press the subscribe button and turn on the little bell to join the most profitable Bitcoin Chinese channel on YouTube. Thank you everyone. Bye bye.